Oh,
there we go. That's good. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and good Shabbos. It is the rabbi with the frog in his throat this week. I thought my voice was going to be back, but I have had a cold this week, one of those summer colds. But it is a beautiful day here in Huntington. The sun is out, the sky is blue, there was a nice breeze, not too hot, not too chilly, a nice summer afternoon and now evening. It is the last Shabbat of June, and it's the last Shabbat of Pride Month. So we'll have some special readings today, celebrating and saying goodbye to Pride Month one more year. But we'll be back with Pride again next year. But it is Erev Shabbat, and we are going to begin. I have Sam here, and he is going to bench licht this evening. As usual, he's going to light our Shabbos candles.
on this Shabbat of LGBTQ Pride Weekend, we welcome the Shabbat into our midst. On this night, we express the love of our hearts for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people everywhere. We celebrate that we were created in the divine image. We pray on this Sabbath that all people will be able to escape oppression and taste the freedom of the promised land. As we light our Shabbat candles, let their glow light our way from the closets that still hold us in darkness. Let the Shekinah lead us with a pillar of smoke by day and a pillar of fire by night through any wilderness towards equality. May these Shabbat tapers inspire each of us to wholeness and holiness. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahalik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Sam. All right, we're going to, again, excuse my voice. We're going to be on page 6 with the responsive reading. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
All right, let's jump to page 20, Lecha Dodi. The song comes to us from the mystical city of Tzfat, and the rabbis of Tzfat gave us Kabbalat Shabbat, the welcoming of Shabbat, feeling that we need to take a breather in between the work week and Shabbat. We can't just go from 60 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour working during the week and just start Shabbat. So they gave us the Kabbalat Shabbat to ease our way into Shabbat. And Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, and 3, 8, and 9 this evening. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem ultiferet v'litchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor ha'bracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Mikdash melech ir melucha, Kumitzi mitov hafecha, Rav lahak shevet b'yemecha bacha, Vehu yachamol alai chemla, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, V'et Adonai taharitzi, Al yadish ben partzi, V'nihi smecha v'nagila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gaham b'simcha uv'sola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Let's turn to page 22, and let's read selections from Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat, and then we'll sing the indented paragraph, Tzadik Katamar. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together, you have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai. How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadik Katamar Yifrach, Keherez Balvanot Yihiske Shetulim, B'Veit Adonai, B'chatzrot Eloheinu Yahafrichu. O Jinuvun B'Seva, Deshenim Vera'ananim, Yihiyu Lehagid, Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo. Page 24, Shalom Alechem. The traditional greeting in Hebrew, when you run into someone, you can say Shalom Alechem, and the response is Alechem Shalom, peace to you, and the response is to you peace. And so we say Shalom Alechem to the angels who come to spend Shabbat with us. Top of page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShaharei, Malachei Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Moachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mihi melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We have welcomed the Shabbat properly, and now we're going to move into the evening service, Arvit, Le Shabbat, the evening service for Shabbat, page 145. We'll begin with Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach chirutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, Bahagala uvizmahan kahariv v'meru amen. Yehesh me'rava mevorach le'olam olam me'hamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei de Kudesha brichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'yimeru amen. Baruch Hu is found on page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vayed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vayed. Page 147 will read responsively. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom.
Day follows day in the succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures.
Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 148. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbeinu uvkumeinu, nasiach bechukecha. V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha li'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu v'yorech yameinu u'vahem nehegeh yomam v'layla Yomam v'layla ve'ahabatecha al tasir mimenu li'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lavavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom halvavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlektecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam le'ahot al yadecha v'hayu latotafot b'neinecha Uchtavtam ומזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. On 151, let's read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp, as imperfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Up page 152. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nohora tehilot, osefele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amru, Adonai yimloch leolam vaed, v'nehemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miad chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai, ka'al Yisrael. Top of page 153, the first two lines of Hashkivenu, followed by the paragraph together in English. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Amo Yisrael, V'al Yerushalayim. Page 154 at the top. It's not Shabbat without it. Vishamru. Vishamru V'nei Yisrael, Et HaShabbat. La'asot et ha-shabbat lidorotam berit olam, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat. La'asot et ha-shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat, la'asot et ha-shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabbat, la'asot et hashabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. All right, we are on page 155, the beginning of the Amidah, also known as Shmona Esrei and Tefillah, or HaTefillah. We're going to chant 155, 156, and 157 together, and then we'll continue silently through the end on 167. And you can chant along with us, read the English translation, or offer up your own personal prayer at this time. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, U'mevi Goel Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Li'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atah Rab V'Hoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechakel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei Metim B'Rachamim Rabbi, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michalocha Baal Gevurot, Umidom Behelach, Melech Mimit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim. If you're still completing your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We're going to continue on page 160, reading the bottom paragraph together in English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. And may all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. A little bit of gratitude, a little bit of hoda'ah this evening, and lots to be grateful for this week. I am recovering from my cold, and although I do sound like Harvey Fierstein, I think that would be a great thing for Pride Shabbat, for me to sound like Harvey. But lots to be thankful for, a lot of gratitude, hakarat hatov. And this evening we're going to do top of 163 responsibly, and then I asked Sam to read another paragraph for Modim as well. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For the life in nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. In the days before Stonewall, many Jews were among those who felt the sting of homophobia and biphobia, who suffered from misunderstanding and rejection by the family and the Jewish community. But you, creator of us all, stood firm, reminding us what happened on the sixth day of creation. And God created the human in God's image. In the image God it was created, male and female, God created them. Until many came to understand that you do not create in vain. You do not create without intent. Until many of us came to understand that we too are part of your design, loved equally by you. The more we have learned and understood, the more has pride returned to our spirit, and the more our spirits have returned to you. Repaid for the day when Kol Hanshama Tehel Yah, when all spirits, when every soul that breathes shall praise you and admire diverse creations.
Thank you, Sam. Lots to be grateful for in this month of Pride. And we will close out this evening our Amidah on 164 with Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol hoit u'v'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. I'm going to continue on page 253 with the Mishaberach, the prayer for healing. And if you know anyone who needs some healing this week, please keep them in your thoughts and in close to your heart. And we're also going to keep close to our hearts all those people who have been affected by the building collapse in Miami and their families. So we'll keep good thoughts for them as well. Page 253, Mishaberach. Mishaberach Ahavoteinu Mikor habracha Lihimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mikor habracha Liahavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. All right, page 258, prayers for our community. And on page 258, 259, for our congregation, our country, for Yerushalayim and Medinat Yisrael, and we'll read these together. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us, love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. Sha'alu shalom Yerushalayim, Yishlayu ohavayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Geulatenu, Hagein Aleha Bievrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha Ve'amitecha L'Rosheha, Sareha V'yoetzeha, V'takneim Be'etza Tova Milfanecha, V'natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'simchat Olam Liyoshveha, V'nomar Amen. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. This week's Torah portion is Balak, and while the Torah doesn't have a lot of humor in it, there are some interesting moments, but this has the humor. this is the humor. We'll get to it in a second. But gets its name. Balak is a Moabite king, and he sends for Balaam, a pagan prophet known for his powers to bless and curse. And before Balaam goes to Balak, God says to Balaam, don't go. You can't curse Israel because they are blessed. So Balaam doesn't go, but then ultimately God says to him, go and see what Balak wants. And Balak promises Balaam anything that he wishes. And Balaam still won't go. And God tells him ultimately to go, but only to say what God tells him to say. And on the way, Balaam is riding his donkey, and an angel with a sword appears on the road. And the donkey swerves off the road because the donkey can see the angel, but Balaam can't. So Balaam beats the donkey. Then the donkey presses against the fence and hurts Balaam's foot. Again, the donkey is beaten. And the third time, finally, the donkey sits down because she sees the angel with the sword in front of her. Balaam can't, and so Balaam beats her again. And finally, the donkey turns to Balaam and speaks and says, why? Why are you beating me? Am I not the same donkey that you have ridden all these years? Have I ever acted like this before? And then Balaam looks up and he sees the angel and realizes his error. So ultimately, Balaam winds up in Balak's presence, and Balak asks him, why are you refusing to do what I ask? And Balaam says, I can only say what God, the God of the Israelites, tells me to say. So Balak takes him to a place where there are altars and tells him to curse Bnei Yisrael, and all he can do is praise. He says, how can I damn those not damned? Then he takes Balak takes Balaam to Pisgah, where there are altars, and tells him to curse Bnei Yisrael, and all he can do is praise. Bnei Yisrael says, no harm is in sight for Jacob. And finally, they go to Peor, and again, he can't curse them, so he blesses them and gives us Ma Tovu. Ma Tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Right? How wonderful are your tents, O Jacob. And then he gives a final blessing to Israel and says that Israel will triumph over its enemies, including Moab. And so, but it doesn't end there. The Torah portion doesn't end on that nice note. It actually ends on a less pleasant note that while they are near Peor, Bnei Yisrael decides that it's going to fraternize with the Moabite women, and that leads them to worshiping idols. And so God sends a plague down to teach them a lesson. And there's a scene at the very end where an Israelite and a Moabite woman are heading off to a tent to do what they do in the tents. And a man named Pinchas sees them and runs them through with his spear. And the plague is ended with 24,000 Israelites dead. And with the end of the plague is the end of the parsha. And so that's this week's Torah portion in a nutshell, Parshat Balak. Well, here we are, friends. June, Pride Month. I brought in Pride Month telling you a little bit about me. But this is actually the big Pride weekend. It's always the last weekend in June because on June 28, 1969, the Stonewall riots, because there were several riots over the days, occurred. And many claim, or many hold, that is the beginning of the modern gay and lesbian rights. The modern gay and lesbian rights, or the trying to get gay and lesbian rights, I should say. Out of the closets and into the streets is what they said. And we have come a long way in terms of gay and lesbian, LGBTQ rights, but we still have a long way to go. I brought in the beginning of the month, I shared part of my story of how I came to accept who I am and how important a pride parade was for me. And so what I want to do is read something that somebody that I follow online wrote. His name is Andrew Joseph Duffer. And he's an interesting character. He's very sassy, offers political commentary and things. But one of the things that I had it easy when I came out, because, or easier than some, because I can pass. When people look at me, no one assumes that I'm gay, unless they see me wearing one of my t-shirts or I'm holding hands with Steve or something. Nobody assumes that about me. But not everybody can pass. And Andrew Joseph Duffer is one of those people who couldn't pass when he was growing up. And so he wrote something, and I'm going to share it with you this evening, on the importance of pride, because as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, every year around this time, I have to answer people when they ask me the questions, why do you gays need a pride parade? Why do you have to have this? We don't have straight pride parades. Why do you have to have a special pride? What makes you different? Well, I mean, lots makes me different from everybody else. And a lot of things make gays, lesbians, bisexuals, transgendered people different from non-LGBTQ people. But Andrew writes, pride is important to me because of the journey I had to endure to find my pride. I come from a red, rural area of hatred, where I was under the constant gaze of those who made me feel like I had to shrink myself to feel safe. I come from a place where I was barely tolerated and never celebrated. I have never checked the boxes that society applied to my gender. I have always stood out like a sore thumb. I've always had a target on my back. The closet was never an option for someone who looks and sounds like me. It is terrifying when you cannot hide what you are in a world surrounded by people that hate what you are. The hate you endure on a day-to-day basis eventually consumes you and turns you against yourself. I grew up ashamed, frightened, hating myself, and struggling with internalized homophobia. Homophobia and hate robbed me of my childhood. I had to discover who I was in the shadows, be myself behind closed doors, and figure out how to be gay on my own. There is no sex ed for gays. You do not learn gay history. You are convinced your mere existence is triggering. I have been told all my life that God supposedly created me, that the God that supposedly created me hates me. I have been told all my life by people who supposedly love me that I am destined for hell. I have been told all my life that my disgusting homosexual lifestyle is a choice. Trust me, it's not a choice. No one would choose a life filled with fear and abuse from strangers and people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. The Christians in my life that do believe that God loves me have warned me that my path to heaven is to live a lonely life of celibacy and deny myself love. I have renounced my faith and have chosen to love myself and bask in my pride. Like most, if not all, LGBTQ plus people, I have been through hell and back. This journey has been hard. Many tears have been shed. Many backs have been turned on me. I have been discriminated against and rejected. 31 years later, I'm still here. I'm still queer. but now I love myself. I will never be masculine or any other stereotype that comes with my gender. I am male. However, I come with a feminine energy, and there is not anything wrong with that. I am gay, and I am perfectly me. You don't have to like me, but you will respect me. Very powerful words from somebody who is out in the front of LGBTQ, the fight for rights. But the thing is, why pride? Why do we have to do this? Or why do we feel called to do this? There's an organization called the Trevor Project, and it's the leading national organization providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services to LGBTQ and questioning youth. They have ascertained that at least one LGBTQ youth between the ages of 13 to 24 will attempt suicide every 45 seconds. That there is one who will attempt suicide every 45 seconds in the United States. And many of them are successful. Why pride? I want to introduce you to someone. Asher Brown, a 13-year-old straight A student, a Buddhist, a lover of animals, and gay. It's a picture of Asher. I keep this picture, and I keep this picture in my office. I keep a picture of Asher on my laptop computer, so I never forget him. Because on September 23rd, 2010, the day he came out to his parents, who, by the way, accepted him with hugs and love, his mother and his stepfather. He came home from school that day, went to his stepfather's closet, took out his stepfather's gun, and ended his life. Asher was 13 years old. He had been bullied to death. The day before he took his own life, he was pushed down the steps at school. And then when he got up, the bully pushed him down a second flight, kicked his books, called him all sorts of names. Why do we need pride? To keep people like Asher from feeling that the only way that they can end the bullying because of who they are is to end their lives. Asher would be 23 years old today, this year. He should have graduated from college. He should be on his way to medical school or graduate school or who knows. But instead, he ended his life simply because he was gay and bullied for it. Why pride? So no one ever has to feel that they are less than. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Sam, what time is it?
Kiddush.
It's Kiddush time. Yes, it is. I think we should have music for that. Like it's raining Kiddush or
I'm tempted to yell howdy doody.
howdy doody. It's howdy doody. It's howdy Kiddush time. It's Kiddush time. Friday night. Vayhi erev vayhi voker yom hashishi vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto kivo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Savri, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Borei Puri Hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, Biotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekahadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
All right. 282, I believe, you'll find Aleinu as we move to close out our services. 282, Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kugoye haratzot, V'lo samanu mishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gohor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu notei shamayim v'yoser haaretz, Umoshav Yikaro Bashamai Mimah, Ushchinatu Zo, Bigov Hein Meromi, U Eloheinu Ein Od, Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulato, Kakahatu V'Torahato, V'Yadata Hayom V'Hashebota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai hu Elohim, Bashamayim mimahal, V'al haaretz, Mihi tachat ein od. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nehemar, v'haya Adonai, lamelech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom hahu, yihyeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. This week, we observed the following yahrzeits. Grace Kaplan, Nordy's wife, Pauline's sister-in-law. Leon Seligson, Mary Lee's father. David Cohen, Marilyn's husband, father of Jan and Judy. Eddie Hyman, Jack's uncle. Jacob Tesser, relative of Herb. Gabriel Peed, grandson of Greg and Deb. Miriam Cohen Glick, David's mother, Billy's aunt. Agnes May Greenstein, Irving's mother. Sylvia Friedman Levine, Bruce and Maureen's mother, Pauline's cousin. Noel David Bihar, Tori Witcher's brother. Robert Bro, Jenny's husband, father of Randy, Scott, and Beckett. Rose Hartz Mazus, Murray's great aunt. Anne B. Nemens, Binny Beeler's mother. Kenneth Levin, Barbara's husband. Ronald K. Rose, Elaine Skoll's brother. Isaac Lewis Sampson, relative of Fred Ziffer. May their souls be bound up with the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us always, and may they all rest in peace. Mourners Kaddish for mourners and those observing Yortzeit, page 294. Yit Gadal, Bid Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach Hirute, Be'amlik Malchute, Be'chaye Chon, Uviome Chon, Uvchaye, Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uvizman Kari, V'imru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Lo Me'al Maya. Yit Barach V'yish Tabach V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Romam V'yit Naseh. V'yit Hadar, V'yit Aleh, V'yit Halal, Shmei Dekudesha, Berichu, Ve'ela, Mimkol, Birchata, B'shirata, Tushbechata, B'nechamata, Da'amiram, V'alma, V'imru, Amen. Yehe Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya, V'chaim, Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, B'mramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. All right, friends, we are just about ready to close out services. A couple of quick announcements. Services tomorrow morning at 10 and then Sunday morning at 9. No adult ed for the next couple of weeks. We'll pick up again. It's the second and third week in July. But Monday night, our deep dive into Genesis continues. And then on Wednesday night, it's the best little Yiddish choir anywhere. And Scott and Tam tell me that you're working on patriotic songs. So come get your Yiddish on because it's a great, great group. And then we'll be back next Friday. Before we close out with the Don Olam on 321, we have a special prayer and a special blessing for our straight families and friends on Pride Shabbat because you support us and you help us and you're there with us in our struggles. And so special blessing for you. Rock of our strength, shield of our ancestors, let us walk a path of justice and truth. We pray this day for our straight family and friends who stand with us in this struggle for love, acceptance, and equality. Let each of them be blessed with your love and courage to face another day. Grant to our family and friends the inner fortitude to challenge homophobia and address the oppression of transgender people where they work and play. May they always be honest about our lives and their lives. Let us turn in love toward each other, just as the prophet Malachit has taught. May the hearts of the parents be turned towards the children and the children towards their parents. Then, on that day of reconciliation, rejoicing will be heard throughout the land, and your truth, O Eternal One, in our hearts. V'nomar, Amen. All right. Page 321, Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa B'hefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei Kichot HaKol, Levahado Yimloch Nohora, Vehu Haya, Vehu Hoveh, Vehu Yiyeh B'tifara, Vehu Echad V'ein Sheni, Lehamshil Lo, Lehachbira, B'li Reshit, B'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'oz, V'ha'misra, Vehu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzor Hevli, B'yeit Sahara, Vehu Nisi, Humanosli, Menat Kosi, Biyom Ekra, Biyahado, Afkid Ruchi, B'yeit Dishan, B'yahira, B'im Ruchi, Geviati, Adonai Li, Velo Ira. This is Harvey Firestein. No, just kidding. Let's see who said hello tonight. Jenny Bro, wishing everyone a peaceful Shabbat. Thank you, Jenny. Same to you. ML and Herman Glazer, Shabbat Shalom, right back at you. Suzanne Hartz, Shabbat Shalom from the Hartzes. All right, back at the Hartzes with a Shabbat Shalom. And Cliff Wanamaker, Shabbat Shalom to all in Huntington from us in Pennsylvania. Glad you are feeling better. Well, thank you. I might not sound better, but I am feeling better. Everyone, have a great Shabbat. Enjoy your day. We'll see you soon. Be careful out there.